Microphone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paula Estee.
Thank you, Paula. Well, good snowy morning to all of you. It's so nice that you were able to get out and be here this morning. I stand in the presence. Just for you to know, you can expect a miracle this Wednesday night at the Evensong service with Leslie Smith. It is an evening of spiritual healing, and we hope you're able to join us. I would like to bring Renee Schneider up. She's going to talk to you about her workshop, Art and Creative Wellness. Come on up.
Namaste. Bear with me because I want to make sure I say this right.
Hold it. Believe it or not, right there.
Okay. Most of you know who I am, and you know that I'm an artist, and I have an art studio in Amesbury. I teach art lessons to children after schools. And about a year ago, I got this idea that I wanted to offer something for adults where adults could come in and experience art, but in a spiritual and healing way. So as I was formulating this idea, I think not by chance, but miraculously, three other amazing women came across my path and jumped right on board with me and offered their talents. And you can, there's a flyer in your handouts that you can read about who they are. And we put this class together, and it's an art wellness class. It's what we call it is a mixed media. Hang on. I want to make sure I say it right. Creative Wellness class that's meditative mixed media art experience. So it's next Sunday, 12 to 2. And I know everybody's looking at it saying, but I'm not an artist. I can't do art. I don't have any talent. There's no art experience necessary. You just come and be willing to express yourself and your feelings in a different way. And we usually base each class on a theme. This theme is going to be the power of love. And we're going to do guided meditation, affirmations, a movement, intuitive painting. And the best part is that you get to play with all the really good art supplies. And hopefully, you'll join us to come and meditate, have fun, get messy, and I hope I see you there next week. It's going to be great.
Okay, this is our last announcement. If you would like to experience the art and practice of living with nothing and no one against you, Annie Breyer is here today.
Great class.
And we so appreciate her facilitating this class. There has been a change of dates. We did manage to get it on the slide. It's going to start Saturday, March 23rd and Sunday, March 24th. Annie, I don't know if we have times as yet.
We're going to make them up, whoever would like to be.
Thank you. And there is a sign up too out in hospitality if you'd like to join us. I know some of the new board are taking it. I'm taking it. I haven't taken it yet. So have a great day. Namaste again. And I'm going to hand this to Paula.
Ladies and gentlemen, while Paula is walking up, I'd like to introduce a poem series that we're doing for Lent. It's been really thrilling to work with Paula, and Paula is offering her services all through Lent and her beautiful poems, and they will open each service. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Paula Estee.
And Maura Lynch.
And myself as well, and I'm very excited. This first poem is called Sanctuary.
It is as if, pushing through the legs of the mother, we fell from grace. fugitives in forgetfulness, wailing and warring at each other, at what we could not yet recognize. We are the symphony.
I remember.
Is it not as if, pushing through the legs of the mother, we fell from grace? Masters of the human territory, vagabonds to God, we sought refuge, a homeland for our faith.
Ooh, I remember.
Do you not yet remember, elusive and tenuous though it was, the moment when you first recognized asylum in your neighbor's eyes? The sweetness of that glance bathed you both. What was born in you before time, it reclaimed your soul.
I remember. I remember. I remember now.
Now nothing. No diversion, no icon or offense. No offense could camouflage this road, every rock and blade forever marked, imprinted on your pilgrimage home. This our refuge, this our return.
I remember, I remember, I remember now.
And so, we rest a while here. We gather and proclaim, exploring the landscape of love, apprentices to its magnificence. Oh love, hold us now. Tear away your cloak and let us suckle here your paradise.
I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember now.
And we, satiated, shall pack your shelter deep, deep in our hearts. Satiated, we set out from your hearth to light your earth anew.
I remember. Oh, I remember now. Paula Estee.
And let us pray. I invite you to take a deep cleansing breath, allowing the breath to go directly to your heart space, softening it, gentling it, opening it. Bring to mind some experience of love, someone, something you love, and allow your heart to soften. It is in the center of the being and in the core of our being that we make contact with our higher self, our essential self, the truth of our nature, the beloved. And so this day, this beginning of Lent, this holy sacred season, this 40 days of transformation, we will journey with this beloved of our soul. We'll align our vibration with the vibration of the Most High as it resides within us, in each and every one of us. Always available for guidance, direction, renewal. And that smaller self of us, that local self that lives in fear and doubt and worry and anxiety, it will be transformed in the light of the Holy One within. It will fall so deeply in love with our essential self that it cannot but merge and allow the essential self to take dominion in the household of ourselves. And so we begin this Lenten journey, I invite you to take a moment to release and let go of anything in this now moment that you might have brought with you today that would keep you from being open and willing and available to the movement of the whole Spirit of God. Release it like a living sacrifice, that you might stand open, responsive, and receptive to the Spirit. Today, let us open up to the Spirit. And so it is.
Open up to the Spirit. Open up to the One. Open up to the Spirit. Let Thy will be done. All of the promises I pray. I pour it on me every day. And I open up to the Spirit. Open up. Well, I've got a body and I've got a soul and I've got my love and I know how to hold. I got a window of time on this earth to celebrate my birth and connect to that power that made me, a power that makes me whole. Open up to the Spirit, open up to the One, open up to the Spirit, let Thy will be done. All of the promises I pray, I pour it on me every day, and I open up to the Spirit, open up. From out of the heavens, there's a light I know, and it's piercing the darkness where I sometimes go. When I am blind and I've lost my way, I cannot see God's face. Oh, I feel that light come shining, that won't let go. Open up to the Spirit, open up to the One, open up to the Spirit, let Thy will be done. All of the promises I pray, I pour it on me every day. When I open up to the Spirit, open up. Let's go over that A, we're going up. Open up to the Spirit, open up to the One, open up to the Spirit, let Thy will be done. All of the promises I pray, I pour it on me every day. When I open up to the Spirit, open up to the Spirit, open up to the Spirit, open up.
Mini choir. All right. Yes. Woo, what a great way to begin this day. Open up to the Spirit. Good morning. Welcome to Unity on the River. We are a center of celebration, transformation, and emergence. I'm Reverend Shipley Allison. So wonderful to see all of you here. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for coming out and venturing out through those roads and holding the faith that you would be here just fine. You did great. And welcome everybody who's out there streaming. I have a feeling we got a lot of people out there streaming today. Hey, I'm really glad you're with us. Hi, Mom. All right, so let's remember who we came here to be by saying our vision and our mission together. Centered in love, we joyously co-create a world of oneness, peace, and harmony. And the mission for this center: we are a vibrant spiritual community that celebrates the presence in all and awakens humanity to its divinity. Yes. So we are at the beginning of Lent. Lent actually began last Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, so many of you have already started your experiences with Lent. It is 40 days. Remember what 40 days is? The exact amount of time for something to happen, especially for transformation. It's actually 46 days, but in the traditional Christian church, Sundays were feast days. The rest were fasting days. But we invite you during Lent to take something on rather than give something up. And so we are beginning our journey with Barbara Marx Hubbard's book called Emergence, The Shift from Ego to Essence. It is a wonderful journey of allowing our ego to fall so deeply in love with our essential self, our higher self, our Christ within, that it invites the essential self to take over our being. So it is the dominant soul, the dominant expression in the household of ourselves. How would that be? And poor little ego, fearful, anxiety-driven ego gets transformed. Wow. So we are going on quite a process. There are 10 steps in this process. Every week you will receive a study guide, which you should have a pink sheet today, that has the reading assignments on it. The one that has today's has the reading assignments for the next 7 weeks. It also has questions that you can journal on and questions that you can discuss with other people. We have 9 small groups that have formed. Wonderful opportunities to take this material deeper. Today is the last day that you can join in one of those groups. One of the most important things for the facilitators to be aware of and the group to be aware of is that when you come together, you have the opportunity to create a resonant field. And in a resonant field, you all get onto the same pathway in the realm of spirit. And when you are in that field, amazing things can happen. So I invite you, and I will be talking more about commitment today, to make a commitment to be part of a group and to stay with it and create that resonant field and see what miracles occur, because amazing things will happen. If you decide not to be in a group, ask a friend. When 2 or more are gathered, there is the Spirit in the midst of you. So this is a great opportunity to be sure to sign up. Some of the groups start today. So there's one, Terry's is this afternoon, and and yours is today also. Mickey and Christina and Haverhill, and Heather Westcott's is tonight. So a lot of things happening. Wonderful. Yes. What? Oh, Heather's is Wednesday. Oh, I thought it was tonight. Sorry. Good. Let me just make sure there wasn't something else I needed to say about that before we go on here. Well, the journals, we'll get to the journals later. The journals are a surprise. Okay, so let's just take a moment to greet each other. Isn't that what we do next? Oh, we have this is the 4th unity principle. Thank you for bringing that up and reminding me. Prayer is our connection with divine mind. This is the 4th unity principle. It is when we go into prayer, which is what we are going to be doing today. Today, the subject is entering the inner sanctuary. So that is where we have the realization of the presence. That's where our divine essence shows itself. We all have the divine within, and prayer is the means through which we access it. So that is our 4th unity principle. Okay. So I'd like to welcome anyone who's celebrating with us for the first time. If you would raise your hand so we can see anybody new, brave enough to come out today. Anybody out there on streaming the first time, welcome. Well, okay, we are all part of this community. Thank you all again for being here. And let's take a moment now to greet each other, invite you to look at each other and say, I see you, I see your magnificence, I see your possibilities, I see you. We are going to have a very special ceremony today. In honor of Valentine's Day, we are having a recommitment ceremony for those individuals who are in a committed relationship and would like to recommit to their relationship. The part of the emergence process is the realization of our divine essence, our essential self, which is love. God is love, and so our essential self is love. And so the journey of emergence is the journey into love. Well, our relationships are a wonderful way to do the journey. If you haven't noticed before, relationships are cauldrons for your growth and unfolding. We come together, we are so attracted to each other, and then everything that needs to be healed comes up to be healed. And it's perfect. It's the order of the universe. And if you want to receive the blessing, it is very helpful to stay committed, to stay stay connected. Keep doing what is there for you to do, and you will receive the blessing on the other side. Yeah, says she who has been divorced twice. So, I'm learning. Oh, dear. Yeah. So, I would like to invite those individuals who would like to do the recommitment ceremony, who have given us their names, to come forward. I'm going to read their names and tell you one thing about them, and I'm hoping that everybody's here. I'm not sure all of them were able to be here. The first, John and Judy Wilkinson, have been together 57 years. I know. So just come on up on the platform. Oh, wait a minute. You need flowers. We're supposed to give you a flower. There we go. Jane will give everybody a flower. Nope. Here they come. Yes, I know. I'm going to turn myself this way. Okay, Larry and Nan Fahey have been together 46 years. Eric Walwerzak was not able to be here today, but Eric and Carol... Oh, we have a stand-in! Oh, that's her. All right.
My spiritual advisor from Giant, she just happened.
Oh, perfect, absolutely. Well, I don't think you guys have been together 42 years, but Carol and Eric have been. That's all right. Beverly Mitchell and Brian Hallisey have been together 26 years. Renee and Mark Schneider have been together 11 years. Yep. Elaine Falvey and James Dobson have been together 10 years. Woo-hoo. Diane McDermott and Michael Sarasolo have been together 3 years. They were married here, weren't they? And Paula McLeod and Mark Colby, one day at a time. Okay. So those who stand before you this day are declaring by their presence here, before God and this congregation, their choice to continue to grow in love together. As we are witnessing their declaration and experience the love they have for each other, we are all drawn closer as a family in God, for we are all dedicated to the expression of divine love. Each of you hold a flower. Every flower, like every individual expression of love, is unique, a never-to-be-repeated manifestation of God. As we take time to experience the beauty and fragrance of a flower, the flower's beauty and fragrance seem to increase. Of course, the real increase is not in the flower, but in ourselves. So I invite you now to face your partner. And as you exchange your flowers, I invite you to say the name of your partner and say, I behold the Christ in you. And then you will make a declaration together, and I'm inviting you to repeat after me and just look at each other while you are saying this. You don't have to look up onto the PowerPoint. That's just for everyone else. We declare this day before God and this congregation that in creating a life together, we are giving ourselves an opportunity for growth, for our evolution, for full self-expression, for living our lives to their highest potential, for healing every false idea we ever had about ourselves, and for an ultimate reunion with God through the communion of our souls. For this is truly a holy communion. And as you look at your flowers, remember that a relationship like a flower is a living thing. And as you nourish it with love, it flourishes and blossoms and will produce many more blossoms or occasions to rejoice. These flowers are expressions of divine love, the same love which you now share with God and with each other. God bless you on your journeys together this day and evermore. And the song that follows is for you, but you may be seated with each other. Bless you.
Grace on fire, grace, grace on fire. Grace on fire, as you dance on this altar of love. You are grace on fire.
Around each other and dance on this altar of love. Put your arms around each other and dance on this altar of love. And may you know deep in your soul, this is your heart's desire. dance on this altar of love. You are grace on fire.
Tell us about a key. Let's sing this together. Grace, grace on fire. Grace, grace on fire. Grace, grace on fire. As you dance on this altar of love, you are grace on fire. Here we go.
arms around each other and dance.
Grace
Dance on this altar of love. Put your arms around each other and dance. Dance on this altar and may you know deep in your soul this is your heart's desire. As you dance on this altar of love,
You are grace on fire.
Meg Rain and Lucian.
Lucian, beautiful. Oh, that's such a wonderful song. Oh my gosh. How come you guys didn't get up and dance? Next time. Yeah, right. So Michelangelo was asked once, how did you create all those magnificent sculptures? And Michelangelo said, oh, God put those sculptures right in the center of the marble. I just removed the excess. And that's a little bit what the emergence process is about. We have within us what Robert Browning calls the hidden splendor. And all that needs to happen is it's as if we had a veil around ourselves sometimes. You know, that our egos can, when it's acting up and when it's in its negativity and worry and doubt and fear and anxiousness and drivenness, it can create a veil around us. And simply what we are doing in the emergence process is transforming that veil. You know, in Jerusalem, in the temple, there is the Holy of Holies in the center of the temple, and it has the Ark of the Covenant. And the Israelites believed that God was in the Ark of the Covenant. And outside of the Ark of the Holy of Holies, there's a veil that separates the people from going into the Holy of Holies. And only the high priest can go in once a year and light the incense. Well, it was said that when Jesus died, there was a great earthquake, and the veil was rent. It was torn in two. And that symbolizes the coming together, that there is no more separation. Jesus brought us this teaching. There is no separation between you and God. You always have access to your higher self, to your divine essence. And that's what the emergence process is about. The realization that we have the divine essence within us and we can access it at any time. And Barbara Marx Hubbard, these 40 days of transformation, are leading up to the resurrection. And normally we think of, okay, things have to be crucified in order for there to be a resurrection. And that's just what I love about Barbara Marx Hubbard. Instead of thinking that our egos have to be crucified, which some parts of them may be, that's true, their our littleness, some parts of us will need to die, but her focus is the transformation of our ego, that our ego will be shown so much of, well, first it'll learn about its own limitations, and then it'll see the unlimitedness of our essential self, our higher self. It will fall so in love with our higher self that it will invite our higher self, our essential self, to take dominion in the household of ourselves or our committee. Does anybody have a committee in there? Yeah. Well, how would it be if the essential self took dominion over all of those selves and brought them into its vibration, brought them into its essence, brought them into the realization of who it is, who you are, who your true self is? So that is our journey. And we are going to go through several stages. Barbara likens our journey to emergence to the birth of a child. And she assumes the book begins, am I still on? I just thought, okay. The book begins with infancy. So she skipped over 3 stages. She is assuming that you've already done those first 3 stages. The first is conception. In our conception, we wake up to the idea that there's something in this world, there's a greater power, a power greater than ourselves that we can access. And then gestation is when we read every book that we can find, we go to every class that we can go to, we hear every lecture, we do everything that we can to get inspiration. We cannot get enough. We're hungry for spiritual food, which I think this gestation goes on all of our lives. But in the birth, we come into that's the third stage, the realization that the divine and the inspiration and the true guidance and direction that we're seeking, and we have been seeking outside of ourselves, is right within ourselves. And so we begin this journey, the stage that we're in now. The book begins with infancy. And in infancy, you are so attracted to your essential self that you want to spend a lot of time with it, because you know that that is the place where you're going to get your inspiration, your guidance, and direction. So this first chapter is called Entering the Inner Sanctuary. The second chapter is Contemplating the Glory of the Beloved. And the two come together in a way. And in our meditation today, we'll do a little bit of both. So Barbara tells her own story, wonderful story. She says when she's 69, she's writing a curriculum for the universal human, the unfolding of the universal human, the development of the universal human. And she has on her desk every book that you could ever imagine, all the inspiration that she could get from every author who ever wrote about the development of humankind. And she is driven by her need to get this work done. Anybody ever been there? And she is so, obsessed with doing this work, and she's feeling very anxious about it and definitely not at peace. Her head is just spinning, her ego is going, it's totally driven, totally anxious about getting this work done. So all of a sudden she stops and she says, you know what? I need to stop for a while and do something different if this curriculum is ever going to emerge. And so she makes a commitment to herself to rise before dawn for 21 days and spend 3 hours in her own inner sanctuary. And what that would look like for her was a time of meditation, a time of contemplation, a time of journaling. She's going within and finding her own inner sanctuary, creating her own inner sanctuary. She also creates an outer sanctuary. We'll talk about it in a minute. And she says as soon as she decided to do that, the first day, her egoic self, she calls their ego the local self. The local self. The local self starts prickling. What do you mean we're going to spend 3 hours doing nothing? We'll never get this curriculum done. We don't have time to do that. Anybody ever remember that kind of voice? The one that tells you, you can't do that? No way. It'll never happen. And so she decides that she's going to take all of her responsibilities and all her burdens to the threshold of her inner sanctuary and offer them up like a sacrifice. She says she feels like a pilgrim who has come to purify itself at the temple. You know, when we go into the Jerusalem temple, you would go into a mitzvah, purification bath. And so she said that's what she feels like she's doing. She's laying down her burdens at the threshold of the temple that she is going into, her inner sanctuary. And of course, they still go, well, what do you mean? We've got to call such and such. Oh, did you forget to do it? And what are we going to have for lunch? And the best one is, you don't have time to be born. You know, she says, this is the most important work that we will ever do. She's doing 21 days, 3 hours. And, so what is she, the way she manages her local self is she creates an inner answering machine. And she records everything on her inner answering machine that her local self is saying, and she puts an out message that says, everything has been recorded, so you can relax now. And then she trains her memory to go back and pick up those messages that were recorded. But she said, you know, it still goes on. It never quits. And she said she felt like she's like Odysseus was strapped to the mast when he's going by the sirens. The sirens are the temptation to get off your path. Well, that's what it felt like with her local selves, just continually going at her again and again. You got to go, I'll do this, got to go do that. So I know if you have all had the experience in meditation, and the little voices, the local selves, will continually want you to do something else. Well, you got to do the laundry, you got to do blah, 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 until you finally go within. So we'll talk a little more about the meditation process later, but I want to talk about journals. You will all receive a journal today, an Emergence Journal 2013. We'll give you that at the end of my talk. The journaling process is essential in Barbara's process, and the one that she suggests for all of us. She said, in journaling, you access the voice of your essential self. You get to a place where you have a poised mind, you are still enough that the voice is able, you be still and know, the voice is able to come in and be revealed through you. And it develops, you get to know your essential self, you get a closer relationship with your essential self, and this is the way that your ego gets to fall in love with your essential self. So this week you're going to there's 4 exercises to do in your journaling process. And the first one is to write down everything that you can remember about your relationship with your higher self. Any experiences that you have had, any time when you've heard something. What did you hear from your essential self? What did it say to you? Did you follow the guidance, etc., etc.? I was remembering that right before, let's see, it was in the 80s. Yes. No, it was in the late 70s, and I had given up Jesus when I was in college, and I just could not figure out why that guy had, anything for me. And lo and behold, I get a dream, and there's Jesus in the traditional garb, in the white robe and the sandals and everything, and Jesus said to me, "See me in everything you do." And I had no idea what that meant. I was very surprised to get a message from Jesus. The next day, someone invited me to a Unity study group. And when I went to the Unity study group, I immediately understood that when Jesus is talking about me, he's talking about the Christ that's in all of us. See the Christ in you in everything you do. And that has been the basis of my expanding mission with Unity on the River, the idea of the Christ within. So go back and remember all those messages. I've had lots of messages along the path. They're very important, and I had forgotten that one. It was good to go back and remember it. The second thing you will do is write down all the things that you love about your essential self. What qualities do you love about your essential self? Now, mine is definitely female, and she is loving, She's patient. She is so faithful. She's so faith-filled. She doesn't think that things are against her. She doesn't take things personally, and so on. So those qualities, all those qualities that you know are your essential self, that's what you want to remember and hold in your vision. And next week, I'm going to give you one of the exercises to write a vision for your essential self. But this week, just remember all the qualities that you've recognized in your essential self. It's right there. It's waiting for you, and calling on you to come to it. The third exercise is you can start asking questions. You write dearly beloved, or whatever name you have for your essential self, and then you explain a circumstance or a situation, and then you stay. I talked about a poised mind. Barbara relates it to a sailboat that's got its sail set waiting to catch a wind. Well, that's what you want to have, a still poised mind to allow the essential self to come in and give you guidance, give you direction, so that you can hear what the essential self, the wisdom of your own essential self. Look for synchronicities. Look for things that are beyond probability. You know that it's not by chance that synchronicities happen. And also look for things to write about that appear challenging. And then as you write about them and you hear from your essential self, you realize they're for your growth and your unfoldment. Last week, my horse had a massage, and the masseuse said, she's really sore in her back. I don't want you to jump her for another month, which takes me right to my first horse show. And so I'm grumpy. And, at first, my local selves go, this is not right. I want to be working on jumping. Well, then, it just takes me a while to process, and I go, okay, I can learn some other things. We'll work on some other things. I can still ride her, thank you, God. And within a couple of days, we had worked out something that I have spent 4 years working on, that we were getting close to, but I wouldn't have spent the time. Inside leg, outside rein. Anybody a rider here? Inside leg, outside rein. It's the hardest concept for me to get. Well, I finally got it. Oh! And, I wouldn't have got it if I hadn't had to spend that time, if I'd still been able to be working on the jumping. So, your essential self longs for nothing more than to communicate with you. And it will do anything to get through to you. But if you're in meditation and you're getting guidance and direction, you need to follow that. If you don't follow it, that's when we get the cosmic 2x4s. But, as Neil Donald Walsh says, God's always talking. Who's listening? Are you listening? We have the opportunity to be present to our essential self. Barbara suggests also that you create not just an internal altar, which we are going to do during our meditation, because that's the focus of today, but an external altar, an altar just for your emergence process. So bring flowers, bring incense, bring candles, bring sacred objects. Invite you to have a prayer basket and put the prayers that you want to hold for those 40 days in the prayer basket. And when you write the vision for your essential self, have pictures. Put pictures on the altar of your essential self and what it would look like when you come into that higher expression. And as I said earlier, find a group or find another person to create a resonant field with. This is when the synergy happens. This is when our greatest growth, just like any relationship, when you come in the group or you come into join with another person, it is for your greatest growth and unfoldment. The meditation, there's so many kinds of meditation. Go online and find one if you don't know one yet, or ask a friend to help you. My son just told me about Yoga Nidra. You guys know about that? It's like a sleep yoga. And he has trouble sleeping, so this is like, whoa, man. You can, he says with a half an hour of Yoga Nidra, you lie on your back. It's sort of like halfway in between sleep, but you access your inner voice. You access your inner guidance. So look up Yoga Nidra if you are having challenges meditating or sleeping. So, the idea is to, you don't have to spend 3 hours in this process. Just make some kind of commitment for yourself, to your own inner guidance, your own inner self, that you will meditate once or twice a day. You will go into your inner sanctuary. And write it down. You know, commitment. We'll talk about commitment in a minute. But Barbara says it's so important that you make this emergence a priority in your life. I mean, what do you really want in your life? Is this something that you want? Do you have a passion for it? Do you have a yearning for it? Because this is the journey. This is the human journey, this emergence into our higher self. And if we have the passion, we will make the commitments, and we will spend the time, and we will do the journaling, and we'll do the sitting, and we'll do whatever is necessary for our own highest expression. However, have compassion with yourself. It's not a linear journey. As Barbara says, toddlers often go back to infantile behaviors when they're in stress or under pain. Sometimes a toddler will start wetting its bed again when it's having a difficult time. So you can imagine, for us, we're on this journey and we're going to go forward and backwards and forward and backwards. But truly, I talked about commitment in the relationship ceremony. W.H. Murray said, when one is committed, unless one is committed, there is hesitance, a chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. But as soon as one commits oneself, providence moves too, and all manner of things will come together to support you that wouldn't otherwise have occurred. Making a commitment opens yourself to the universe begins to orchestrate itself to support you. There is no point really in reading this book if you're not going to do the work, because the work is where the shift happens. It's one thing to have it in your head. It's another thing to really do this work. So I know that some of you may not be ready to make a commitment to this yet. You probably don't even know what it's all about. But I'm going to invite those people who are ready today to make a commitment to themselves and to God to speak a commitment with me. I have one that I'm going to put up here. No, I won't. I'm going to have us all, anybody who is ready to make a commitment for 40 days to spend a certain amount of time in their inner sanctuary doing meditation and journaling and being with others to work on, to work this together. I invite you to stand and read this commitment. And I'm not going to look. It's up to you. If you're ready, I invite us to declare. Okay, I declare this day, February 17th, 2013, that I am a willing and open to grow and evolve through the emergence process. To the best of my present and evolving ability, I'm willing to do the suggested practices, to go within and to be still and listen, to journal and or observe the messages of my divine essence, and to pay attention to my experiences. I am willing to the best of my ever-evolving ability to let go of those aspects of ego that keep me small. I'm also willing to commit to love. I know that only in allowing myself to be an expression of divine love can I come into a full realization of my divine essence. I'm willing to be a channel for that love, and so it is. Amen. Blessings. Yahoo! All right. So if I could have the ushers pass around the journals. These are journals just for your emergence. They say Emergence 2013. Take them into your physical sanctuary and bless them. And I am knowing they're going to bring you into some new realizations of your divine essence. Want a noodle, Brian? Thank you. So in this process of emergence, we are truly returning again to the land of our soul, to the land of our essential self, to the land of our higher self.
Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
So I invite you to take a deep cleansing breath. Allow yourselves to go within. I'm using today a meditation that came from a class that Barbara taught on emergence. So it's longer than our usual meditation, but the focus of today is on entering the inner sanctuary, and that is what we will be doing. We are often reminded to allow our hearts to expand by bringing something into our heart that we love, because it softens us. It allows us to be more available to the presence. So I invite you to get comfortable and become aware of your breathing. Breathing deeply and taking some deep breaths in and out through your belly. And if you're breathing in out and out through your heart, you'll be activating the love that resides there. You will be finding your way to the core central place of your being. Excuse me. You may want to imagine a column of light shining down upon you, and this is the light of your essence, of your essential self. It's also the light of the universal intelligence and the great creative process. Feel this light warming you and permeating your body and helping you to relax, so that you're breathing in the light with each breath, and with the out-breath sending it throughout your whole body. Feeling the muscles of your face relax and your tongue float. Relaxed in your mouth and just letting the deliciousness of this golden light and the relaxation flow down your neck and shoulders and down the muscles of your back. Feel it flowing down your whole torso to your belly, down to your hips and legs, and now to your feet. Feel your connection to the Mother Earth and her life force, her life-giving energy. Just breathe that up into you and let it intensify and animate the energy in every cell in your body. And I invite you now to create an inner sanctuary, a place of peace and safety and refuge. It can be in nature or indoors. It can be from a place in your life or from your imagination. Just let arise whatever wants to come. If several places come, just pick one. You can always, in another meditation, create another sanctuary. If nothing arises, just be present to this moment with as much sense of well-being as you can experience. And if you are in an inner sanctuary, use your senses and notice your surroundings, the shapes and forms and colors. Are there any sounds or even fragrances? Place yourself in this sanctuary and be as present as you can with a sense of being in a special sacred place, having left behind the cares and the distractive thoughts, and being open to your own essence. And now perhaps reconnect to the column of light and sense that emerging from that column is a luminous being that actually is the form you are giving to your essence, your full potential self. Just see the beauty, experience the luminosity, whatever form this being takes. It may be a goddess, a god, an angel, a robed figure, or perhaps just an energy field, or it could be a symbol. Whatever it is, just contemplate the beauty of this radiant being and notice its qualities. One of your exercises in the journal will be to notice the qualities of your divine essence. Unconditional love, compassion, luminosity, wisdom, joy, deep peace. What are the special qualities of this being? What does it represent to you? And what is it radiating towards you? Take a moment to open as fully as you can to the higher vibration and the energetic field of this being. Almost like a tuning fork, begin to vibrate at this frequency and feel yourself attuned to the energy of your essential self and resonating with it. Become aware of what it feels like in your body. Is there a sense of warmth and expansion in your heart? Or in any way do you feel constrictions and boundaries dissolving, opening to a more boundless, loving energy? What is your awareness like? What are you aware of as you open to your essential self? Take a moment to savor these feelings. And you may want to inquire and ask of this presence, or pose a question. How can you best be in communion, in deep resonance with this essence, and receive the energy and guidance from your essential self? What are the ways you can most connect and embody the essence of your being? And you may want to ask, of yourself, of your higher self. What is the deepest intention I have for this time, the next 40 days? In what ways am I hoping to grow and deepen and evolve? What is my deepest heart's yearning in relation to living more fully as my essential self? And you might want to imagine yourself 40 days from now. Just for fun, explore what it might feel like. What's it feel like to be your essential self, your full potential, and live as a fully integrated ego essence universal human? Whew. And as you see yourself 40 days from now, see if there's a symbol or something that you can anchor your experience of your essential self with. Maybe give it a name or a symbol, what you've seen. It can be an image, a sound, or a gesture, or simply the felt sense. Whatever it is that can bring you back to this experience. And gently and slowly, as we bring this meditation to a close, just take leave of your sanctuary, just appreciating the beauty of it and your essential self, this wise and loving being, knowing that you can come back to the sanctuary and reconnect to essence whenever you wish by entering your sanctuary and taking some deep breaths, inviting your essence to become part of you, to become fully present as you. And before we come fully back, just take a moment to notice if there are those that you would like to hold in prayer. Bring them into mind, bring them into your heart. And send them love and light by speaking their names together out loud. And with that same love that we hold for our essential self, we give love to the prayers of this prayer box, knowing they are responded to in right and perfect ways in God's holy presence. Thank you. And beginning to come back, take the energy. Our intention is ultimately to live always from our essential self, to let that frequency, that vibration stay with us in whatever we do. Today we have returned again to the land of our soul.
Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul.
And so it is. Amen and amen. And so we take time now to expand our good and bless this community and beyond with our tithes and offerings. We invite all those who are out there streaming to join us. I believe it's very easy. A little button comes up if you would like to contribute. We bless you and thank you ahead of time. As you're holding your offering in your hand today, you are still in the vibration of your essential self. Let that vibration move into these offerings. As you bless them, know they're expanded and they return 100-fold. You are always blessed beyond measure as you allow yourself to be an opening for God through giving. So let's say the blessing of the tithes and offerings together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you. Hold on 1 second. We have chaplains available here for prayer after the service. If they would stand so we can see them, they're here for you and they'll know the truth for you in total confidentiality. Thank you.
Not what I've done, I am. Not what I've become, I am. Not anything to show, I am. Not anything I have to know. I am awake. Let's all sing that one time again. I am awake. Good for Sunday morning. Not my house or my car, I am. Not my story or my scars, I am. Nothing to be done, I am. No wars to be fought or won. Here we go. I am awake. I am awake. Tell us about it, Keith. Brian. More than I know, I am. More than I show, I am. The universe and stars, I am.
made me cry. I need to hug you. Oh my God. Oh. Wow. Oh, I am, we are. I am, you are, I am. Holy Spirit, you have moved in this room today. We are open and responsive to that movement, and these offerings are filled with that love and that joy. Thank you, God. Blessed be. Oh, thank you, Lacey. Thank you, John. Bless you. Thank you, Greg. Yes. Oh, we have almost 60 streamers. Woo! Woo! That is so cool. Would you all please sign in? We love hearing who's there. Have you all been talking? Has anybody been writing letters? Great. It's a fun thing to do. It's really fun for us to know who's out there. So bless you. Thank you for joining us today. That's awesome. Where were we? Were we going to sing some more? Oh, we're going to tear down the walls. Good?
Tear down the walls. It's time to fall into the arms of love. Open the gate. No time to wait. Surrender to the arms of love. Surrender to the arms of love. Tear down the walls. It's time to walk into the arms of love. Open the gate. No time to wait. Surrender to the arms of love. Surrender to the arms of love.
welcome in the family, youth and family ministry. Just wanted to say, Jane just said because there's so few people here today, the facilitators could take journals for their groups, for the groups this week. So that's just a reminder. Okay, let's welcome in youth and family. A youth and family.
We are walking in the light of God. 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 We are walking, walking, we are walking. Oh, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, walking, we are walking. Oh, we are walking in the light of God. Good morning. I'm on. We had a small but mighty group today in Youth Ed. That's hilarious. So we offered childcare, and they had fun. Well, I got to go to service today, so that was a blessing for me. So I would like to let everyone know that it's time once again for our neighbor's table Easter baskets. What we do is we fill them. Congregants bring in items for children of all ages so that they can have Easter baskets. These are for children that the families can't afford Easter baskets on their own. So we have 3 weeks to fill these, and I'm going to have one at each entrance to the church. So we appreciate all the blessings that you can bring. Thank you.
I have a feeling that everybody might be a little young to say the prayer with me. So we'll just, everybody join in, and let's rise and sing our peace song. Today we begin the journey of our local self falling in love with our essential self. What wonders are before us? Yes, the light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we are richly blessed. Go in peace.
See you, John. Take care.
I'll see you out there.
Yeah.
Super good. Easy going home, guys. 70 instead of 80. Just saying. Love that. Amesbury's so cool, too. Wow, and what are you driving? So you was taking... Buying something regular that doesn't seem like... Day. But I was like, wow. Of extra gigs, I'll call you right away. Yeah.